I believe it was Kanye West who said, "They say I am the abomination of Obama's nation," and that's a pretty bad way to start a conversation. But I think that Kanye West should have changed this line. He should have gone with, "That's a pretty bad way to start an administration," because as we saw last week, the abomination of Obama's nation, the main one, has now been elected president of the United States of America. As always, you're listening to The Left Can't Meme, the Northwest's premier political analysis podcast. I'm Joe, and I'm joined, as usual, with my friend Sam.
Hello, folks.
Joe Biden has been elected president of the United States of America.
Not my president.
He's not Sam's president.
Or yours.
He's not my president. He's not most of the people who listen to this podcast's president. But
it's bold to assume that anyone listens to this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to presume that all 12 of you aren't living in the US.
Yeah.
But, that's it, really. Joe Biden will, barring any, unfortunate accidents orchestrated by an insanely depressed and loser Donald Trump, Joe Biden will take office on the 20th of January. So
his brain could just melt.
Or he could just simply die, I guess. In which case, Kamala Harris will take office as president of the United States of America.
Clinton gets him with a heart attack gun, and Kamala Harris rips off a mask, and it is Hillary.
Or Hillary Clinton usurps Nancy Pelosi to be Speaker of the House, and then gets rid of both Biden and Kamala Harris, and becomes president herself.
This podcast is now a pro-Clinton podcast. We're still with her.
God, yeah, I'd be with Hillary Clinton if she orchestrated a coup to make herself president at the moment.
I would unironically support that, to be honest.
Yeah, man.
I would have a lot of respect for her if she did that.
You know what? It would show grift.
It would, and people were saying, is she strong enough to be the president? Is she healthy enough? But I think if she can mastermind something like this, she's proved all the haters wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've spoken about this in the last week or so. I think it's been quite hard to avoid anyway. I was initially pleased that Joe Biden had won, not from a kind of, I stand Joe Biden, I ride with Biden perspective.
He is riding with Biden.
Mainly from a, thank God that Trump is out of office. And it is good that Trump is going to be leaving office. Let's not.
It's funny if nothing else.
It's funny if nothing else. But you know what?
But it would have been funny if Trump won, to be fair.
I think I'd have been less pleased with the outcome if Trump had won again, to be honest with you. I did kind of tentatively decide that, I'd probably want Joe Biden to win this in the end.
Yeah. Me too. Only because, sort of got towards it. I was like, oh, it's not great, is it?
It doesn't make it any better that he won, or that it doesn't make everything that the Democratic Party pulled out to make him the nominee acceptable or anything like that now that he's won. But at least now there's a chance, I guess, of a more progressive agenda than would have obviously been pursued under Trump. But with a Republican Senate, and it is looking like it will be a Republican Senate.
This is the thing. This is the one thing I was really excited to talk about. Is the state of the Senate.
State of the Senate. We may as well just dive right into it.
The reason for that is purely because I've just fixated on how badly the Democrats fucked it. Because remember on election night, you and I were both up middle of the night, going strong, and it really looked like Biden had just fucking lost it and lost badly. I was sort of having a mental breakdown. I remember I just laughed to myself, just kept going, country's fucked, they've fucked it, which is true anyway. But Biden came back and pulled it out. But where the Democrats really did fuck it is the Senate, which they had no business losing.
Yeah, they
no business losing it.
Let's get it. Let's get the facts straight here. All right, the Democrats ate shit in the Senate.
They will never see a more favourable Senate map again. And
this is literally everything they've been talking about since 2016. It's like, oh, 2018, okay, we can't take back the Senate. The map's not in our favor, and they're correct, and they were correct about that. They couldn't take the Senate
Yeah.
in 2018, and it was like, we'll wait till 2020. We'll have great down ballot success from people voting for the Democratic nominee over Trump. We'll get people elected to the Senate, and we'll take control of it. And I mean, at the moment, Republicans have 50 seats in the Senate. Democrats have 48, pending the 2 elections in Georgia. But I would be very, very surprised if both of those elections in Georgia went the Democrats' way. And then even if they did, that's still reliant on a casting vote from Kamala Harris. So really not
here's the
a good Senate result.
Here's the interesting thing that I looked into, that I focused on. So Amy McGrath was the Kentucky Democratic Senate candidate. She was really being hyped up to win this thing because, you know what? They just hate Mitch McConnell. They cannot stand him. And I mean, to be fair, what human being can, but they just get blinded by him. It's like Texas, right? Texas is the big evil Republican state because it's their sort of version of California. It's a big, safe state. So every 4 years, the Democrats go, Texas is going to go blue. It's going to happen. Texas is a swing state now, and they get really excited. They go for it. They pump money into it. I mean, it's happened 3 times in the last 4 years. You had 2016. Everyone said Hillary Clinton's going to win Texas. Trump's going to lose in a landslide. And then, unsurprisingly, Trump wins Texas. And then it's Beto O'Rourke's going to win Texas. Ted Cruz is out of there. And guess what? He ate shit. Ted Cruz won. And then 2020, look. I know we got it wrong twice now, but Joe Biden's going to win Texas. It's going to happen. And then it was one of the quickest states to be called for Trump. It's fool's gold. And in the same way, they just fixate on Kentucky because they really want Mitch McConnell out. They thought, okay, maybe we can win. They raised an insane amount of money. I think it was like 80 million, something like that, $80 million, which I've got the numbers here in front of me. 3% of that was raised in Kentucky, which is actually less than the amount that Mitch McConnell raised in Kentucky, even though Amy McGrath set fundraising records and actually raised more than $30 million more dollars than Mitch McConnell, even with all his big Republican backers and
that's tragic.
Big business
That's really, really.
And still lost. And by the way, lost worse than any Democrat in the Kentucky Senate race since 2002. Since 2002. Can you believe that? I mean, that is sad. But the best part...
They are the most useless political party, I would argue, in the Western world. Like, the most useless mainstream political party in the Western world, really. They have no idea.
We haven't even hit the best part of this race. This is the sweet bit. So 97% of her money is pouring in from out of state. And it's a mixture of people who go, Mitch McConnell is the big bad guy, blocked Obama on everything he wanted to do, and then, got all these federal judge appointments, and he's evil and we hate him. And then there was also people after RBG died saying, oh, we've got to take down McConnell because he's going to try and fill the Supreme Court seat. We've got to stop him. So they thought the best way to really beat McConnell wasn't to, make an actual effort at retaking the Senate and lose him his status as Senate Majority Leader, but just literally to go to his seat and try and unseat him, which they were never going to do. So 97% of this money is coming in from out of state. And they're pouring it to this woman who, by the way, said that she would have voted for Brett Kavanaugh. So I don't know why she's, the answer to the Supreme Court woes. But she's a pro-Trump Democrat. She was made a name going abroad and fucking bombing children and shit. And the best part is her attacks on Mitch McConnell weren't to do with the obstructionism. It wasn't to do with the fact that he's one of the least popular senators in the country. It wasn't that he's a fucking, look at him, he's like a walking abortion. They poured money at this woman who aired ads that said, Mitch McConnell isn't pro-Trump enough. I'm more pro-Trump than Mitch McConnell. And she takes this money to air these ads and airs them in a big media market and the ads that are pro-Trump actually get aired in Ohio, which was a swing state that Trump won. So you're spending $88 million on a candidate who then turns around and uses your money that you've spent on her to run ads against you in a swing state.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You have to fucking laugh, don't you? I mean, it's fantastic. So it's pretty clear that she was like, if she'd won, which she never would have done, let's be clear on that. But if she had somehow won, she would have been one of the most conservative Democrats in the Senate, and basically just be the reason that the rest of the party points to go, well, you know.
That's what strikes me, right? They thought that they could win the Senate. They thought they had it locked up from the start. So they spent all of this money trying to get an excuse elected, an excuse for, if they held a Senate majority, why they wouldn't be able to pass progressive legislation, right? They'd have just pointed
at... Yeah, because...
And they'd have gone, oh, look,
keep going.
Yeah, it's Amy McGrath. We can't pass any progressive legislation because she'll vote against it. But in the process of trying to elect this excuse, they actually ate shit and lost the Senate generally.
Yeah, and let's
they dumped all of this money into trying to do that, and they didn't even win the Senate. Even if she'd have won her race, they probably still wouldn't have won the Senate.
Well, if she'd have won, she would be the girl boss, Joe Manchin. And Joe Manchin now, by the way, even if they do win both seats in Georgia, which really isn't going to happen, I really don't think that's going to happen.
No.
But if they do, Joe Manchin has already said he will not vote to pack the court, and he will not vote to get rid of the filibuster, which means that the Democrats can win 100% of the vote in both these Senate races. And functionally, Mitch McConnell's still in charge because he will filibuster everything, as he did with Obama. And if the Democrats want to pack the court, if they want to, maybe undo the massive right-wing bias on the Supreme Court, he's going to block that as well, which means any progressive legislation that somehow fucking sneaks past these Republican senators, maybe they're asleep when the vote's being held, maybe they've fucking crashed from all the adrenochrome, they're just going to fucking block it in the Supreme Court because they've got a majority there forever.
Have you heard all of these fucking liberal moderates claiming that that Biden's going to, be able to change the Supreme Court through his bipartisan Senate committee on the Supreme Court and what needs to change or whatever? But I've also seen an argument, and I'm not making this up, an argument from someone who supported Joe Biden, right, that the Democrats losing the Senate was actually a good thing because the Republicans being in control of it means that Biden will have to work with them and be more moderate in a bipartisan stride. And it's like the current Republican Party, especially those in the Senate, they don't give a shit about bipartisan.
Joe, he just has to work with them. Do you remember, excuse me, in 2008 and 2012, Obama got elected twice, and the Republicans shook his hand and said, you have a popular mandate, and we will work with you.
Yeah, and then for years and years and years, they all worked together and everything was fine.
Until Trump came along, that's when the country got bad.
But it's all right, because now Joe Biden's been elected, the US has actually been saved for permanent.
Yeah.
Now everything's fine now.
But the fact is that 538 electoral college votes went to old men who are fucking creepy, who have allegations against them, really serious misconduct, who are conservatives, who have a history of racial controversy, let's say. So, yeah, Trump's out.
I mean, it's hard to actually overstate just how bad it is that the Democrats failed to win the Senate this time. And
they fucked it up.
We talked about kind of almost immediately. I remember messaging you about it, saying that obviously the president has more power when it comes to foreign policy. The president and the White House can do more. There's fewer kind of checks and balances on them. So what the Republicans winning the Senate means is that Biden won't be able to pursue any sort of progressive agenda in the US itself. He won't be able to get anything through, basically anything that he's promised. apart from if people like Mitt Romney or Susan Collins vote for like the most watered piece of progressive legislation that they possibly can. So as a result,
that's never going to happen, by the way.
Yeah, as a result of Biden not having control of the Senate, he will instead have to focus more on foreign policy. And a Democratic president who was the vice president under Barack Obama, who, you know, let's not forget, fired quite a few drones.
One or two
drones.
Killed a couple of children.
Biden's going to have to turn to foreign policy in his presidency. And what do you reckon a Biden foreign policy is going to look like? Do you reckon it's going to be this progressive, rosy future in which all the countries of the world get along together, you know, like it was before Trump under Obama when everything was fine? Do you think it's going to be this progressive, rosy foreign policy, or are you an adult and do you recognize that the Biden foreign policy initiatives are just going to be creating a hellscape of a global future in which nobody who doesn't live in the US will even be allowed to live, particularly if you live in Middle Eastern countries,
or the
anyway.
South America.
Huh?
South America too. They're on the chopping board.
Let's you know, I'm sure people in South America, you know, in Bolivia, I'm sure people in Iraq are really just fucking delighted that Joe Biden has won the presidency. Really, I mean, all their problems have been solved now. What
is the Pell Grant for underserved communities version of foreign policy? It's like
if we accidentally kill your parents as civilian casualties in a drone strike, we will pay half of your college tuition if you get the threat required you to get into Harvard.
Yeah. But no, really, I mean, listen, it's grim, isn't it? But I guess, you know, it's the first female vice president. The first black vice president, and that is going to be a comfort to Iraqi kids.
Yeah, until she runs in 2024.
Literally ripped apart by bombs.
Until she runs in 2024, if Biden doesn't run again, and that is a big if Biden chooses to run again, the Democratic Party will basically have to get around it.
If Biden chooses to run again, it will literally be Weekend at Bernie's. Like, it will be someone like puppeting him because he's not going to survive his term.
But I mean, there is a danger that he could just say, yes, I'm running again.
And
they can't oppose him then. They can't have a big primary process. They have to get behind the incumbent president.
If he does that, he'll think that it's 2012 and he's vice president, and he'll think he's running for vice president because he's not smart, is he? Did you see? You did see. You definitely did see, and you're the only person who fucking seemed to see this and talk about it with me. When he first came out on election night, just to basically say, everyone, calm down, you know, there's ballots to be counted. He finishes his speech and just sort of says, let's walk over here, walks off, and then, and in the middle of his speech, he just yells out, for the team!
Oh, no, what he said was he was talking about Chris Coons winning re-election to the Senate, or Chris Coons, as I believe we should call him, winning re-election to the Senate, obviously in Delaware. Jill Biden, of Joe's esteemed doctor wife, whispers in his ear, she's like, what about the governor? And because they elected a Democratic governor in Delaware, and Biden, clearly having forgotten about this, just looked out and went, yeah, John, you're the gov, the whole team, man. Like, that was it. That was his acknowledgement of them winning the Delaware gubernatorial election. Was just,
and then he walks off, and then comes back, picks up his clipboard, slaps the podium with it, but not like out of frustration, which actually would have been more appropriate. Just slaps it and walks off again.
I mean, I'm not going to insert that clip into this episode, but go on, because I think it's a bit too long, but go and watch it yourself.
That's fantastic.
Me and Sam were actually infuriated because other people we were talking to on election night were like, there was...
It was normal?
Yeah, they said that there was nothing weird about that speech.
It's normal.
They were like, it's normal for a presidential candidate to be tired on the night of the election. And I'm like, I don't remember Obama doing that. Or Trump doing that.
No, I don't. And to be fair, the shit that Biden's got access to. He should not be tired. He should be fucking wired.
Yeah, he should be. You know, Trump was correct to call for a drugs test before the debates, I reckon.
He was definitely.
Biden's clearly, allegedly, been doing some drugs.
Yeah, we don't want to get sued by Biden.
I don't want to get sued by the president of the United States.
Is people listen to this podcast religiously? So,
I mean, if we did get sued by the president of the United States of America, we'd probably get more listeners. We'd get more attention.
That'd be a fucking great advert, wouldn't it?
So I reckon from now on we should just say as many provocative things about Joe Biden as possible and just wait to get sued.
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting, isn't it? But so that's the guy. I mean, do you remember when Trump first won and liberals were just talking about normalization all the time? Racism is being normalized, misogyny is being normalized, all this, which, I mean, no shit, you live in America. It's built on fucking slavery. But, you know, what's being normalized now isn't necessarily some terrible shit. It's just everyone in 4 years is going to walk around like, if the president is, this is my theory, the president is basically a reflection of general culture and shapes general culture as well with it. Everyone's just going to be walking around fucking forgetting the words, or not even forgetting it, but pretending to, because that'll be trendy. Everyone's going to be walking into rooms and being like, I don't know why I'm here, Jack. You know, that's what's going to be normalized under Biden, is just having a brain made of soup.
Apparently, I looked at some of the news today. Apparently, Biden is still not receiving the presidential daily briefing.
Is he not?
No, he's still not allowed to by the head of the General Services Administration, which ratifies the votes and says who has been elected president, has not declared that Biden has won the election.
Well, it's because he didn't. There was voter fraud.
Yeah, presumably because they're under pressure from the Trump administration. But yeah, so that means that Biden...
Yeah, under pressure to tell the truth.
Yeah. Biden is still not receiving the presidential daily briefing, and his senator, a Republican senator from Oklahoma, has said that if Biden doesn't... well, this is the headline of the article. It was like, if Biden doesn't start receiving the presidential daily briefings by the end of this week, I'm going to take action. And I was like, oh... No, that's quite something. A Republican senator publicly saying, not even one of the moderates, not even like a Susan Collins or a Mitt Romney, just a one from Oklahoma who's on the oversight committee of the Senate or whatever. And I was reading into it and I was like, okay, what's this guy going to do? What's his plan going to be here? And I read further into it, and his plan was basically just him. And he said, if Biden's not received the daily briefing by Friday, I will say this is wrong. Biden should receive the daily briefing. Basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
A hashtag resistance king.
Just action taken there. He will formally declare in the Senate that he thinks it's wrong.
Well, Trump's quaking in his fucking boots now, because you know that what scares Trump more than anything is being scolded. That's worked out fantastically.
You know what? It'd be quite controversial for me to say this, but I have an anecdote to back this up, right? I will miss Trump in some ways, because we were just in my flat yesterday and we just had the news on or whatever. And there was a video of Trump, laying a wreath for Veterans Day or whatever the president does for Veterans Day. And it was just a video of him laying a wreath. And my flatmate just looked at him and just said, like, everything he does, he just looks so funny.
It's true. It's true.
That's true. That's objectively true, right?
And that's the difference between him and Obama, because the difference between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party is now, like, the Democrats do something and it looks kind of cool and, kind of somber and sincere, so they can blow up a children's hospital. But, they feel bad about it. Obama looks cool doing it. And then Trump blows up a children's hospital and you think he probably didn't even mean to do it. Like, this isn't even him being evil. Yeah. He was aiming for a different country and it fucking landed there.
You look at Trump, like, doing anything like laying a wreath or something like that, and you're just like, God, I'll miss the president looking like that. I'll miss that badly drawn cartoon character leading the US.
This episode is... commemorated to Donald Trump. Yeah. R.I.P. to a real man.
We respect.
I salute you, Mr. President.
I hope you do what you can, Mr. President. I hope you can invalidate the results of an entire presidential election with your competency that you've shown so far in your leadership.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you've got to listen to these liberals who insist he's going to do a coup, and it's going to be a deadly coup, and he's going to take charge because famously, Trump is loved and respected by every member of the military, especially the top brass. The intelligence services who would need to be behind him. He's never had any clash with them. He's supported massively by middle class people, the upper crust and all that who would need to fund him. He's respected massively by the elites. So they will all get behind him ultimately. There's definitely no way that they'll just laugh him out of office if he tries anything.
I mean, speaking of which, how the fuck are you going to claim that he's going to do a coup when this is the guy who was golfing when Joe Biden formally won the presidential election?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Biden
golf. There's a picture of him at the second or in the minute that Joe Biden won the election, and he's just golfing. And
Biden could conceivably die at any minute, and that wouldn't even be suspicious because he's literally on death's door. He could have got his CIA boys to go in there and fucking hit him with the heart attack gun. And, I guess there'd be, discussions, but it'd be a meme like Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself as a meme, People might sort of suspect something, but he's an old dude, it could have happened. And Biden's still alive, running around.
I mean, yeah, and
sniffing hair.
Trump didn't make a public appearance since Joe Biden won the election until yesterday. How is this guy going to orchestrate a coup when he can't even be seen in public?
He can't even fucking book the Four Seasons.
Yeah, I mean, there are competing stories as to what happened at the Four Seasons thing, but I mean, every single one of those competing stories is just as bizarre as the last one. Really.
Yeah, and this is the thing. This isn't going to happen under Biden, which is really sad. I wish it would.
I think under Biden, at least, the administration won't have to do press conferences in a Four Seasons. What was it? Four Seasons landscaping or something like that.
Yeah, next to a sex shop and a crematorium.
Yeah. For some reason I can't see the Biden administration doing that.
And that's the thing, and it's not because Joe Biden's more competent or more intelligent. It's that, and he used to be, by the way. I'm not saying it's always this bad, but Jesus Christ, look at him now. But it's because the people under Joe Biden will have jobs afterwards, no matter what happens, and they give a shit. They give a shit because and it's not because they think that they've got to uphold norms, or maybe they do. That's even sadder. But it's because they have reputations, and they think that they're going to be serious political operators, and it's going to be like the West Wing. And you wouldn't see an episode set at the Four Seasons landscaping on the West Wing.
Yeah, whereas the Trump administration is staffed by people whose political careers are already over, so they don't have more. Like Rudy Giuliani's not going to do anything big in politics after the Trump administration. He used to be big in politics. He's not anymore.
He's America's mayor.
He's America's mayor, but he's got no job prospects really for after the Trump administration, other than presumably being the lawyer for the reanimated corpse of Pinochet or something like that.
Maybe they can all go on Trump's new network that's going to be coming.
Oh yeah, God, what's a Trump post-presidency gonna look like?
Well, people say there's not going to be a Trump post-presidency because there's going to be a coup, which is really sad. I mean, that's just people fucking holding torches under the chins and telling a scary story. Yeah, and then the rest of them.
Imagine being so shaken by the last 4 years that even when your guy wins, you're still crying about how the loser in the election is saying mean things on Twitter.
Yeah, and then the rest of them go completely the other way, and it's going to be a fucking conga line of humiliation. So Trump is going to be arrested. Really? By who? Who's going to arrest him? Do you think Biden's going to arrest him? What for? For fucking being corrupt? No, thanks. That sets a precedent that Biden does not want to set.
I think, yeah, I agree with you broadly that I don't think the federal government will prosecute Trump because, like, as you say, there's a precedent set. Then you'd have to prosecute Obama for drone striking a hospital.
Yeah, and he could get prosecuted afterwards for the numerous shady things that he's done and will do.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I can see Trump definitely being brought in on like state charges.
Yeah, but he's Trump. He's rich. Do you think that New York State's going to take him down? Do you think that this? I mean, he won the presidency. He wasn't even trying. That's
Yeah,
the lesson I learned from
he did
2016. Is
accidentally
if you're
become
rich, you
president.
can do anything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to run a campaign. I mean, wasn't there that book that came out? It was quite big news in 2017 or 2018. It was literally like the Trump campaign on the night of the election, and it was basically just Trump like being really, really scared that he was actually going to become president.
Yeah, no one's expected that. They were as surprised as anyone.
But then at the last second, like before he made his acceptance speech or something after he won, he had decided.
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I can do it."
Yeah, he was like, you know what? Then if I'm going to be president, I'm going to be the best president ever.
Yeah, he was certainly something.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll miss the fact that this literal accident got elected to the presidency.
And it is broadly like I think he fit. He fit for 4 years. He doesn't fit anymore because it was the natural conclusion of what America is, and now the natural conclusion of what America is the same, but like more demented and a little less rude.
Yeah, but I think America's probably gonna like. I remember in the first few years of the Trump administration, there was this thing, and it was like, oh, the Trump administration is contributing to the kind of decline of America's status abroad, like how America
God, I wish.
by other country, whether it's viewed as a leader or not. And the worrying thing is that Joe Biden is actually going to try and grab that back. He's actually going to try and grab that leadership role back from everywhere else.
Yeah, we'll wrestle it away from Angela Merkel.
Yeah,
exactly. Or whoever was meant to take it.
Angela Merkel's basically taken up the kind of mantle of leader of the free world in the last few years under Trump. You could argue about whether she was wanting to do that or not. I think to an extent she definitely was. But like now that we have a Biden administration, that's definitely he is leader of the free world again now, Joe Biden.
Yeah, everyone's going to see that to him as well because the rest of the world kind of likes it. I mean, the Western world surely
they
liked it.
You just let America take all the criticism.
Yeah, let America do it. I mean, look, we kind of get some of the same because we're the big imperial power and we were America's mom and all this. And, in Iraq, like, people have a go at George Bush for lying, but they have a go at Tony Blair for lying as well. But, like, yeah, what's America doing that's uniquely bad? In scale, they're probably worse than the rest, but it's nothing that other countries haven't done abroad that America didn't learn from Europe.
Yeah, we're in for a bleak 4 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the only good thing is like late night TV hosts, they're gonna have to find a fucking new grift.
They can They can be funny again. I was actually
there's not gonna be 4 more years of like people analysing different world leaders going to the White House and what does their handshake mean? Look at Macron, he owned Trump with his handshake.
I mean, I was talking to someone about this the other day, and they sent me a link, and it was a good article. I only skim read it, unfortunately, but it was an article about how Trump kind of ruined liberal comedy and late night TV hosts and things like that.
Yeah.
The gist of the article was basically that because Trump is so overt, like he doesn't mince his words at all, there's less of a scope for sarcasm from these late night TV show hosts. So they have thought kind of that the only response to because if you're sarcastic about Trump at the moment, that can be interpreted as support for Trump because Trump is in what he says, and he doesn't, as I said, he doesn't mince his words. But they've kind of decided that the only response to that is to themselves just be really overt and loud.
Yeah,
and just
which is, by the way, it's like Trump was in many ways the Republican Obama, not like that they're the same in mannerisms or anything like that, or that they're particularly, that Trump is about as competent as Obama, but because Obama something about him, who knows what, broke the brains of like conservatives in just a really specific way that they just rabidly hated him. Like they hate all Democratic presidents, but I mean, really, there was something about him that just got them. And Trump is the same for a very specific type of liberal. I mean, all of them hate him, but like the professional managerial class, because they like to feel superior and they like to feel morally like they've got one over on you, sir. So Trump, because he's doing policies that, like any Republican, just sort of benefits them, they can't oppose him based on that because, you know, they're not morally superior. They're the ones who are enjoying the benefits of what he's doing. But at the same time, he's so rude and so crass that they can't say, oh, well, I respect the office because, you know, he's rude, he's crass, he's, you know, got no class. So we have to do a big performance of hating him, but we can't take a moral high ground, really. So they just get angry. So he broke their brains the way that Obama broke, like, Fox News's brains.
I mean, I am personally so glad that we now get manners back in the White House.
Yeah, manners, norms. Norms. Come on, we've got norms.
I mean, the norms have clearly led America to a great conclusion so far. Everything's going, like, really well.
The norms of America are, like, you can fucking do whatever you like to little brown children. You can fucking sexually harass interns and, you know, whatever. Those are the norms that American presidents follow.
That's the key thing.
Yeah. So after you've ruined a woman's life and, you know, harassed her and assaulted her, don't call her a fat pig on TV. That's presidential norms.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. I just kind of as I said, I wasn't jubilant really, but I was happy when Biden won, at least in a kind of short-term sense. But now I'm just like back to the standard like depression of just, oh look, America's done for. The American left are dead, at least for the.
I wish America was done for. That would be much better if they were like just a regional power who like just didn't really bother the rest of the world. And it's not because I hate all Americans. It's just
that won't happen for another 100 years while America continues to decline.
Yeah,
really, and I just kind of.
And it's going to go out kicking and screaming. You know it is.
Exactly. It will probably just destroy the world.
Yeah, I mean, climate change is coming, and you know, there's definitely Biden is expected to take real radical action on climate change. By the way, definitely, because remember, it was the most progressive Democratic policy platform ever.
And so was Hillary's. And then
so was Hillary's. So was Obama's. So was
in
Clinton's.
2012. So was Obama's in 2008. So was John Kerry's in 2004. You know, like always the most progressive Democratic platform in history because it's progressive by nature. It moves forward, right?
Yeah, it's like me going. I can travel through time. Every second, I go a second into the future.
Yeah, exactly. It's the most progressive. Yeah, that's the fucking meaning of the word progressive. Right?
Yeah.
On a basic level.
It's the other thing that people keep going, Joe Biden got the most votes of any presidential candidate in history. What a day for democracy. And I'm like, yeah, but like in the same election, Donald Trump got the second most votes
Trump
for
got
any
more
presidential
votes than he got in 2016.
Yeah, and with minorities as well, which they hate that. They hate that.
They've been focusing on increasing turnout for so long, and they've not realised that turnout increasing doesn't actually help them in any way because the minority groups that they've lumped into one and said every fucking Latino, every black person supports the Democrats isn't showing up. It's not materialising, right?
By the way, I am surprised that they lost with Latinos after saying Latinos aren't part of our path to victory. And I'm shocked, by the way, that Trump did better with black people than last time after Joe Biden just went round going, if you don't vote for me, I don't know what the fuck that accent is. Joe Biden wrote
the crime bill in the 90s and every single
and he said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black.
Anyone criticised him for writing the crime bill or for saying that if you don't vote for me, you ain't black thing, all we got told by the libs was to just shut up and back him because it wouldn't matter. Because those minority groups would go for Joe Biden over Donald Trump because Trump is the more overt racist of them. And that's true. But you have to start looking at people who are in minority groups as individuals and addressing their problems rather than just.
And by the way, they're not all fucking
They're
idiots.
gonna fucking vote for you anyway because they don't.
Because they remember that before Trump, they were still beset by racism. You know, they know their lives weren't fucking magical before Trump, and I'm not saying that they don't, have any reason to dislike Trump compared to any other president. But it's not like they think, oh yeah, my life was great and racism never affected me until Trump. So if you run a candidate who's basically saying, I'm going to go back to before Trump, and then we don't have to worry about race anymore, well, is that going to appeal to people who go, well, wait, my life was shit before, so you're going to stop? You're going to go, okay, that's enough.
Let's just go back to how things were, when you were still in the same shitty conditions you're in now. Like,
and minorities of people, we have this weird thing of you have a presidential platform and you address policies that everyone cares about, and then you have policies for minorities and you separate minorities from everyone else. These policies are for normal people, these policies are for minorities. This is what is going to win with minorities, this is what's going to win with everyone else. Well, I don't know, maybe the fact that you had a really fucking unpopular policy platform that couldn't excite anyone, predictably couldn't fucking excite any of the fucking minorities because they're people too.
Oh, and what depresses me the most about any of this is that the American left, at least for the next 4 years, is just in tatters, really, because for the next...
Yeah, it's dead. It's dead. It's worse than it was in 2016.
Yeah, because
way worse.
All we get told now, all the American left have to do, or are expected to do now, is just back Joe Biden in every single thing he ever does and says. Oh,
by the way, do you know they said, well, I didn't like Joe Biden. He wasn't my first choice, but we'll push him left afterwards, and we can have a conversation about a better candidate after Joe Biden's in office, because we really need to get Trump out. And from now until January, it's going to be, well, I don't like Biden, but we need to retake the Senate. So come on, let's go to Georgia. You can't criticize Biden, because then people might not turn out in Georgia. And after he eats shit there, it's going to be, okay, but for the next 2 years, we really need you to be on hand. Please support Biden, because we've got midterms in 2 years and we really need to do well there. And then this really progressive policy platform that Biden has planned, well, he'll have a good Congress, he'll have Democratic control, and then he can do it. And they'll eat shit there and they'll go, oh, well, President fucking Tom Cotton or President Ivanka Trump, you don't want that, do you? No, of course you don't want that. So we need to get behind Biden because, we've got a really strong Republican Congress. Imagine what a Republican president could do with this Congress. We can't let it happen. So that's, until 2024, it's just going to be new reasons for the left to support Biden.
It's just mind-numbing. You can't even say at the moment, and I've tried, you can't even say to these people, oh, you know what, I think Bernie Sanders probably still could have won the election and maybe have been able to kind of win more down ballot races. And if you say that to them now, they're just like, well, you're a fucking dum-dum because Biden actually did win the election and therefore we were right the whole time. Ignoring completely that if not for COVID, Trump would have had more scope to at least pull the...
In a landslide, he would have won in a landslide.
I don't know if he'd have won in a landslide, honestly. Even before COVID, the polls, the national polls of Biden versus Trump, where Biden was clearly in the lead. I just think that Trump...
Yeah, but I'm telling you, he would have pulled it back.
I think Trump would have been able to pull off more of a 2016 surprise than he was this time.
Yeah, he'd point at the stock market, he'd point at the economy, he'd go, look, I said I'd do this, I kept my promise, And that's the thing. If the thing that saved you from losing is a deadly pandemic, I mean, I guess you better hope that turns up again in 4 years.
And you can't
more likely just never goes away.
Who was the last president who when they won their election didn't control the Senate at the same time?
You're asking more from me than I can give you.
It wasn't Trump in 2016.
Was it?
It wasn't Obama in 2008.
Yeah.
It wasn't Bush. Did temporarily lose control of the Senate a few months after he
Obama in 2012.
Then got it back. Yeah, but I mean for the first term.
For the first term, okay.
The first term, I would probably say probably someone like HW or Reagan
HW, what a man.
or something like that. But like to lose the Senate as a first-term president is just a pretty like awful situation to be in, really. And I don't know.
Yeah, and they did shit in the House as well.
Yeah, I don't know how you can look at that and go, we lost ground in the House and we didn't take back the Senate, even though we've been talking for 4 years about taking back the Senate. Like,
And this is what happened 2 years ago.
Joe Biden.
This is what happened 2 years ago.
Like,
because they were meant to have this big blue wave that was going to swamp the House and it was going to be just a fucking washout. And they were meant to take back the Senate, even though the fucking races weren't favourable. And they were meant to get like governorships in like Florida and all this. And they shit.
I watched.
They went. It's okay. There'll be an actual blue wave in 2 years.
ABC News' coverage of the election last week, and at the start of the night, you had like Democratic figures saying, "Oh yeah, I think we're seeing this blue wave materialize. I think it's going to happen. We're looking forward to a great night." And then at the end of the night, I think about 5 or 6 in the morning our time, after everything had died down a bit and the mail-in votes were clearly the only thing that was going to decide the election. It clearly wasn't going to be decided that night. They interviewed another Democrat, and they said, "Oh well, we never talked about a blue wave. We never thought that would happen." Like,
yeah, you just said you were going to win fucking Texas.
It's because you
were
can
going to
never
win Florida and Texas.
Yeah, you can never be wrong, right? Like,
yeah,
you have to. If you're wrong, you just have to flatly deny that you ever said what you apparently were wrong.
Yeah, it's fucking blue MAGA, mate. It's blue MAGA.
Yeah, and I think that is a lasting impact that Trump will have on American politics, really.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've sort of skirted around the issue. I don't want to get too serious or like make an allegation myself, but let's put our cards on the table here. Like, what was Trump well known for? Like, outside of all the shit that he did, it's his fucking supporters with rabid hogs who were like genuinely evil people. And that's the same with Biden, because after the Tara Reid accusations, she goes public with something that, doubt it if you want. There's been questions about it, but, she went forward with something that everyone, in the liberal establishment basically says, well, it's impolite not to believe women when they say they've been, assaulted. We have to believe them. Biden said to believe women. And she comes out with it, and then, no, you're a fucking lying bitch, you horrible person. People were tweeting at her, with all sorts of abuse, or saying that I don't care if he raped you, or Biden could rape me and I'd still vote for him. And you know what? That's the fucking lasting impact, is that Trump showed everyone that he was an awful person, his supporters were awful people, and the people who hated him were awful people too.
Yeah.
And that's what he is, that's who Biden is, that's who Biden's voters are, that's who Trump's voters are. They're fucking nasty bastards.
I mean, I think looking at the time, and not wanting to make this episode as long as the last one was, I think that's about a good spot for us to wrap up on.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
I mean, that's a very hopeful view for the future.
Yeah, we like to leave you on a positive note. I would be interested, probably not. I think next episode we'll probably get back to the home front a bit of Britain. Talk about British politics, which we have, of course, neglected bar a good 20, 30 minutes last week. Yeah. But I think that when Trump does actually leave office in January, I think it would be a good idea for us to do a kind of a historical look back at the Trump presidency.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Like, I'm not sure about you, but I know for me in particular, Trump's term in office has been the first presidential term that I've fully paid attention to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Considering
I think it's gonna be a healing process, because I need some closure. I need to say goodbye to that man.
Considering I got into politics when I was about 14 or something like that, about halfway through Obama's second term. Trump's my first kind of like full president that I've been fully aware for. So and been keeping track of, and I'm sure it's quite similar for you as well.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I think we should definitely have a look back at Trump's presidency. But for now, yeah, I guess we leave our listeners on the bleakness of the the election results and what it means for the future of America and the world, really.
Yeah. So let's see if there's anything we can salvage, though. Let's see if there's any good things. Trump fucking did a press conference next to a dildo shop. Biden hit a podium with a clipboard.
Yeah, Biden's. Well, I can't say anything positive about Biden. He's not Trump. He's not Trump.
He's not Trump.
Not Trump.
Not Trump.
Right. Well, as always.
Farewell.
Farewell. We'll see you later. Have a good one.
Stay crispy, folks.
Stay crispy.